sun, you could have stayed. It's only over when the day is done. I never knew you was a runner, yeah. I mistook you for a son. It don't matter what we think when it's all over.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is probably gonna be my favorite series that I've put on the channel yet. This is a super special one and also kind of a sad one because the Panzer that we know is gonna be kind of no longer, but it's gonna be a whole lot more rowdy. Let's just say that. So if you've seen my Instagram or TikTok posts, you know I've had a vision for this car for a long time to do a twin turbo kit that I've never seen before. It's gonna be 100% custom. Turbos on top of the engine and then hood dumped. We're gonna have 4 exhausts out the hood, 2 exhausts, 2 wastegate dumps, and then the nitrous purge out the fenders. Like, this thing is just, we're gonna go all out. I kind of came to the conclusion that I don't really drive the car that much anyways, so I might as well just go, you know, we went to the moon, now we're gonna go hit Pluto while we're at it. So I'm super stoked. We're here at Potter House Fabrication here in Pennsylvania. Long story short, I put a post on a Facebook page saying that I wanted to twin turbo this thing, and he hit me up and he was like, hey, I'm down to help you out with the fabrication side of things, and here we are. It just all worked out. So coming over here, we have 2 next gen precision 6266s, 2 precision wastegates, and 2 precision blow off valves. So the turbos are mirrored, so they're gonna be 100% symmetrical on either side of the car. We're gonna have one behind this headlight and one behind this headlight, with the exhaust kind of coming up in between the manifold and the ABS, and in between the manifold and the fuse box on this side, and then it'll be straight out the hood. So I think it's gonna look super, super sick. Obviously, all this titanium piping stuff is gonna go away, but we'll still have the titanium theme. We'll probably do a titanium exhaust, and then we got some more titanium goodies that we're gonna slap on. If you guys have a look over here, these are the bezels that are gonna go around the exhaust coming out the hood. This one is from JDC. This is just an aluminum mock-up, little prototype we made. So essentially, the passenger side, you're gonna be looking at the front of the car like this. Driver's side's gonna be like this. So the idea with this is to mock it up, make sure it fits, and then I'll give them the okay, and we can make these out of titanium. Because like I said, we're gonna keep that theme throughout this car, because that's what it's kind of known for at this point. And then here are the exhaust tips that are gonna be coming through, and here are the wastegate dumps that are gonna be through this hole. I've had a lot of people tell me that it's not gonna work, that it's a dumb idea because, you know, it's only a 4-cylinder, which I get. But I also had a really good friend tell me that everything's impossible until you make it possible. So that's what we're gonna do. And hopefully by the end of the 2 weeks here in Pennsylvania, we'll at least have everything tacked up and essentially ready to run welds on everything if it's not already welded up. And then we can get that kit installed on this car. I'm super stoked. And I guess the first thing we gotta do is just get this old kit torn off. So let's get to work.
Can I be your superhero? superhero.
Alright, I pretty much got everything stripped down, got the turbo out, all the stuff left in here, I pretty much have to get from underneath the car. So manifold, up pipe, exhaust, and then we should be good after that. So let's get the car lifted up. I'm gonna get this thing on 4 jack stands as high as I can. That way we have as much room as possible underneath. Obviously we don't have a lift in here, so we're just gonna make do with what we got. But as you can see, got a lot of space here. It's gonna be a turbo here, turbo here. We're obviously gonna relocate all this wiring stuff somewhere else with an iWire relocation kit. The wash fluid tank's probably gonna go bye-bye, and then we'll cut this piece out. That way we can have all the room in the world for an up pipe on that side. The coolant reservoir, I'm not really sure what we're doing with this yet. I might make a custom one just so it's a little bit smaller and we can easily fit an intercooler pipe down through there. But other than that, I think we're gonna be able to make this work, guys. So let's get this thing lifted up on all 4 jack stands, and then we'll get everything ripped off, and Silas should be here soon to, you know, start mocking some stuff up. So I actually haven't even met him yet. I'm just here working in his shop, been here all day. He gets out of work at like 6:30, so I'm gonna have this thing all ready for him when he gets here. What's up, buddy?
How's it going?
Pretty good, how are you?
Doing good.
Nice to meet you, dude.
Nice to meet you.
So I almost got this thing all stripped down already.
Sweet.
Okay, so the entire turbo kit is now taken off the car. Got the downpipe and everything pulled off. Even went ahead and pulled the exhaust off. It's the first time I actually had this exhaust off. This came with the car. It's an NVIDIA N1 dual. It's got a resonator and 2 mufflers on it, and it was still pretty loud, which is why I don't run a Tomei with the rotated kit, because it's kind of just obnoxious. But now, talking about obnoxious, we're gonna be out the hood with 4 pipes. Yeah, so we're pretty much ready to start mocking stuff up now. We got the washer fluid reservoir out. We're just gonna go ahead and get rid of that for now, because we're gonna be running intercooler pipes through there, and I don't ever use the wipers to begin with. So, and then what's going on over here?
All right, so I got this aluminum plate here, 3/16 aluminum. Making a mock-up jig for the manifold here. Make sure we get our correct spacing and everything, and I'll bolt these down. Then we can start mocking everything up, getting our runners tacked in, testing, fitting. This will just help me keep everything locked in place so we're not moving, and when we go to bolt it up onto the car, everything should fit perfect the way it should, and we can go from there.
Pretty much just trying to get everything perfect right now. Like Silas just said, just mocking everything up. The exhaust manifold's a little bit tricky, because obviously if you deck the heads, now your exhaust manifold has to be shorter to be able to still fit on those studs. So we're trying to figure out how we can make this and be able to adjust it on the fly if need be. But yeah, it's just a little tricky, you know. I've never done this before. This is Silas's first time working on the STi, so we're working on it together, but we'll figure it out. We're just gonna keep making progress tonight and see what we come up with. So looking at the passenger side, you can see we got this all kind of opened up, plenty of room for a turbo, and then the exhaust is kind of gonna flow through here. We're gonna heat shield off our ABS pump, and then everything down here will be guarded from the heat as well. I'm gonna relocate and clean up what I can, but most importantly, we gotta work on the driver's side. So obviously we took the battery out of here, and what I wanna do is cut this little plate out of here. I'm gonna do this in a way so it kind of matches this side, and then we can just run like one of these little seam sealed rubber, I don't know, seam along the edge. So I'm gonna cut this line right here on this bend, and then we'll just cut like a straight line straight to here. And I think that will obviously leave plenty enough room for all of our hot pipes and one intercooler pipe to go through. Now coming underneath, we have 2 sets of wires here, but I'm just gonna take all these wires and move it up behind this guy here. So essentially looking from up here, the wires would be behind this plate here. And since we're cutting this line down below, not only does that act as more of like a heat shield, but it also allows a place to mount the wires so it's still neat and organized. And then we'll have our big hole down below. finally got that cut out, I'm just gonna take a polishing flap disc and just clean up all the rough metal edges. So then we can just put this little seam on there and we'll be good. Then we can take a drill and just drill 2 holes in this back plate to mount those wires to, and then we should be good with that. We'll be able to run an up pipe through there, no problem. So I just went and hit it with the polishing flap disc, and you can see nice and smooth now. Same thing underneath, just smooth it out so we're not cutting our hand all over the place. And then I went ahead, drilled 2 holes in that bracket, like I said, so we can mount those wires. Now, full transparency, I was polishing the bottom of that mount right there, and I did just barely tap into the harness, but I only affected 2 little spots. Like, you can probably see it in that white wire. Just 2 little spots that we can fix up when we get home, but I was really trying to make a nice home for this harness to sit down here, and I did. I just, you know, at the cost of scraping the rubber off 2 wires, but no big deal. I can't remember if I mentioned yesterday, but I relocated the regulator to right behind the manifold, and that way when we have our exhaust right here, we're not getting, you know, really hot exhaust next to our fuel, which used to mount right here on the strut tower. So being behind there, it's a really good location. It's going to be kind of right in between the 2 intercooler pipes, and yeah, I think it's a lot safer there. That way we don't have fuel lines or fuel residue, any sort of fuel related substance anywhere near our hot pipes, because that's the last thing we want, is to catch it on fire on the first drive. So now what I want to do is just finish cleaning some stuff up, figuring out where we're going to put some of these wires to get them as far out of the way as possible. And then I'm going to teach myself how to TIG weld today. I hit my first bead yesterday with Silas here. He kind of walked me through it, and I just want to see if I can get any better with it, because ultimately what would be ideal is go back home, have some sort of knowledge in it, and then we can work from there. I can start doing my own kits, or, you know, welding miscellaneous things, because I normally have a lot of different things that we got to tack up. So this was my first attempt at TIG welding yesterday. Yeah, you know, I don't say it's too bad, but it's a good 1 out of 10 for sure. It's great because I didn't let the gas sit on it afterwards. I just kind of pulled the torch off, and oh well. So today I'm gonna, you know, take some of these practice pieces and go to town and see what I can do. But there is my first ever TIG weld attempt. You guys are gonna have to envision this with me. So a typical manifold that comes off the bottom of an EJ engine, it's gonna have 1 exit, and that exit's gonna feed an up pipe to go to the turbo. Well, when we're doing twins, now we gotta have 2 exits with 2 up pipes coming up to feed the 2 turbos. So what we're planning on doing is taking the runner from cylinder 1 and cylinder 2 and feeding that into a collector. So it's gonna be 2 pipes into 1, which will feed into a 2.5-inch up pipe to the turbo. And then same thing for 3 and 4. 3 and 4 are gonna go to an up pipe. So we need to essentially make that collector work. So we're gonna take 2.5-inch Schedule 10 pipes and essentially try to cut them so they can merge together into one piece, and then it'll feed into a 2.5-inch collector to go to the up pipe. So let me see if I can demonstrate what I'm talking about, and you know, we'll see if we can make this happen. All right, so this is what we're gonna be using as our collector. Now pretend this is an 1.5-inch piece of pipe, which it's not, but you can see how it's cut on kind of this weird angle. So obviously we're not gonna curve it like that, we're gonna cut like a straight shot. We're gonna take 2 of them, put it together like a triangle. This end is 2.5 inches, this end is only 1.5 inches, but our plan is to cut this wherever we need to cut it, and we're gonna take our 2 runners and kinda merge them together, and then we can just take like a ball bearing essentially, push it down in there, because it's still going to be more of like a figure 8, and you'll see what I mean when it's done. We can take a ball bearing, press it in there, and it'll open it up, and that'll be our 2-to-1 collector. So once I actually start cutting this and making sense of it, you guys will see. But yeah, essentially these are going to go in there, they're going to merge together, and that's how we're going to get our 2 pipes to our 1 where the up pipe's going to connect. So this is a piece of 1.5-inch stainless. This is what we're going to be using as our exhaust runners. So I've gone ahead, I marked the center point here, and I marked the center point on the bottom. This mark here is our 3-inch mark, so that's where we're going to be cutting to. So just imagine this is cut on that angle. It's it's gonna be, you know, obviously flushed out, and then we take another one of these, put it together, and that's where we're gonna get our merge. So let's get this in the bandsaw, get our full lines drawn out, and then we should be able to cut it with this guy. I've never used this before, but we'll figure it out. All right, it's a few hours later, and we've just been getting to work with cutting and trying to, you know, do the thing that we've been thinking. I don't know a better way to say that, but so remember earlier I was talking about, you know, making the collectors essentially and trying to merge the two pipes. Well, I ended up needing to make a custom jig, and Silas came here and worked his math on this thing, and check this out. So this little jig, because we couldn't get the angles right off the bandsaw, he used a piece of angle iron, 2" by 2", welded this little tab on here to bolt in, and then welded a bolt in there to essentially hold this pipe still, and that'll give us the angle that we need coming off the bandsaw. So yeah, this is exactly what it looks like at the end. So you do the same thing with another pipe, and then they're gonna merge together, and the collector will sit on top. And that's how you take your two pipes and turn it into one. So we just got to do that with the other three, put them all together, and then we'll have our collectors to go to the up pipes. So finished product, this is what the collector looks like. So yeah, you're going to take your two runners for each side and can join it into a 2.5, which is going to go to the up pipe. So ideally here, because we're taking the 2.5 inch pipes and putting it into 2, obviously you're gonna build a lot of pressure kind of in this area with all the air, because it's gonna funnel down. But that might help us in the long run, because you're gonna need, because, I guess, how do I word this right? We're only taking 2 runners, 2 cylinders to a turbo. Where typically on the Subarus, obviously, you're taking all 4 to a turbo. So we're gonna build a lot of pressure here, which will force it up into this 2.5 inch pipe. So it'll hopefully help us in the long run. But yeah, this is the finished product on the collector, kind of how we were talking about, cutting those angles in those pipes, merging them together, and then welding it all up. So Silas knocked it out, and that's what we got. I should also mention in here, I kind of got a hold of the welder for a little part of this. That wasn't my weld, but my weld was underneath that, and Silas had to patch it up. Also, I may or may not have dropped it out of the bandsaw and cut it up a little bit, but like I said, we're gonna put a B on this one, and that way, you know, we'll be all right. And then here's the other one that, you know, I didn't get a hold of. This one's a little more quality. Yeah, solid. And then this will be our up pipe. We'll clamp onto that with a V-band, just like so. Clean. So for the past like 30 minutes, I've been just trying to figure out how to mock the turbos in their locations, so we can just, you know, start lining pipes up and figuring out how we're gonna run everything. So he has this kind of engine hoist thing here, and I think what we're gonna do is cut the bottom off of this rod here, so get rid of these hooks completely on both sides. And then I've made these 2 plates. So essentially how this is gonna work is we're gonna weld the bottom of the rod centered on this top little pilot hole, and then these 2 holes will bolt directly into the oil drain on the turbos. So having a look down here, you can see we got those 2 holes there, and this is gonna come up and mount right there. And then you'll be able to mount both of these to that engine hoist, and we should be able to get these solid in a location where we can start, yeah, just starting to build the pipes up to it, and that way we know where these are gonna sit. The hardest part's gonna be knowing how high we can sit the turbos without being anywhere near the hood. Obviously, we don't want to be rubbing the compressor housing against the hood, so we got to do some measurements to make sure that, you know, we're in the clear. So I know I've been doing a lot of yapping at the end of this video, and it's getting pretty long, but I guess I should probably show you guys the turbos mocked up in the bay, because that's what this video is kind of all about. And I did get them mocked up today. I spent a ton of time just trying to make sure everything was symmetric, ran some string line, and just took a lot of measurements for hours. So without further ado, this is what the car is gonna look like. Here is the setup. So this was the vision I originally had, was having the 2 turbos right behind the headlight, and then just making way for the exhaust to kind of run through here. And then same pattern on this side. It's just gonna run kind of in and then up. That way we dodge the ABS pump and we dodge the fuse box. I've relocated pretty much everything else to make this hopefully work. And then tomorrow we're gonna actually start getting the manifold put together. But like I said, I'm gonna quit yapping. We're gonna go get some sleep, and then tomorrow, 4th of July, we're gonna get to work on the manifold. Hopefully get that knocked out by the end of the day, and then hopefully it'll go pretty quick from there. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys are as stoked as I am for this setup. It's gonna be freaking rowdy. If it works, it's gonna work. We'll make it work. That's pretty much all I got for you guys today. I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, peace out. See y'all later.